Good day. Today you'll find out exactly how mitosis and meiosis work in terms of chromosomes and what's actually happening to them inside of the cell. There are plenty of resources you can find to see what's going on with the cell, what it does, blah de blah de blah. However, not many of them actually point out what's actually happening to the chromosomes, which means it can take you a very long time to really understand what's going on during meiosis, the sexual reproduction of cells. So let's start with a little fruit fly. Fruit fly has about, it has 8 chromosomes, let's say. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's get it up so you can see it. So it has 8 chromosomes. By the way, this is a chromosome, just as this is a chromosome. It's 2 different states of the same thing. Just think of it like this one. It has an additional portion of it ready for reproduction. However, the other bit is not really doing that much, and it doesn't affect the way your cell works. So these are the same things. Yeah? Same chromosomes. Now, as you know, you get half of your chromosomes from your mom and half of them from your dad. So let's put that in right now. You got this one from your dad, you got this one from your dad, this one, and this one. So little fruit fly had 4 from its dad and 4 from its mom. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And in order to function correctly, you need a pair of such things. So you need this one and this one for your body to work correctly, just like this one and this one. These 2 and these 2. And I'm using red and blue here, not as really anything to show, just to show you that these 2 are a pair, these 2 are a pair, these 2 are a pair, and these 2 are. And if you don't have one of them, the whole body will not work, and little fruit fly of ours will kind of just die. Yeah. And now let's model in what happens during mitosis. So this is reproduction of cells in your normal body, just as they would divide. So each one of these would split. So this top one here would become these 2. They would be in 2 different cells, and as you know, they work the same as any of these, except for obviously the number. So this one would be number 1. These 2 would be number 1 and number 1 and 2 of their separate cells. So let's draw in 8 copies of each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now just to show, when little fruit fly was born, it got this one from its mom, just like it did this one, because it's literally, these 2 used to be together. This one, this one, this one. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this fruit fly probably survived, but would have something like Down syndrome if it had that. Let's just do a normal fruit fly, shall we? So it got those from its mom, those from its dad, or vice versa, really. I'm using this as a marker to show. So this one was from its, let's say this one was from its dad, just like this one. This one was from its mom, just like that one. And now we mark off all of the gene pairs which you need to survive. So these 2 would be needed, just as these 2, and these 2. Otherwise, the little fruit fly would die. And now you see what happened here. If you look just at the markers, and you think of these 2 being as different states of each other, obviously this one this one can divide further, and this one has to be replicated during S phase, synthesis phase. But anyway, if you look at these as two different states of each other, you have two copies of the genome, which you can then pack into its own individual cells. And then then this is how the cell splits during mitosis. Okay, now let's do the same thing with meiosis. Now, something that you'll find straight away is that instead of lining up as one single line, your chromosomes would actually line up as two files. So let's say this pair at the top, these two pairs, would be exactly the same as these two pairs. That's the same thing as saying that. So this is a pair of chromosomes that you need to live. Just like this, these two are a pair. Let's add the red ones in. Yeah. So you get four pairs of four chromosomes pairs, which make 8 chromosomes total, but you need them to be paired in order for them to live. And you know, just for the sake of making this easier on you, let's say all of these, which are almost identical to these, all of these you got from your mum, and all of these you got from your dad. So this little fruit fly has 4 chromosomes from its mum, 4 from its dad, and it has 2 copies of each. So it all still counts up. Alright. And now during meiosis 1, you have something called as crossover. So it's a little weird chemistry trick that that fruit fly would have in its sexual organs, which basically means, well, if you don't know what this means, let's say you have this one, this chromosome is from your mom, this is the same chromosome from your dad. Obviously they would have a few mutations, they would be a little bit different. Hello, yeah, sorry that happened, run out of memory midway. So I was gonna tell you about the awesome process that's crossover. So you have chromosome pair number 1. These are 2 chromosomes that are number 1. Basically these 2 chromosomes, these are the ones that we are talking about. They hug each other, and at chiasma points, these points over here, they exchange whole sections of DNA. It could be one gene, it could be many genes, and this is the way you make your own genes. And we'll be using, let's say, okay, which color we haven't used it yet? Let's say yellow. Yellow will be marking the genes that are completely new. These genes have not been in your dad or in your mom. These genes may be passed on to your offsprings, but knowing how many different cells there are, you probably won't see all of them and all of the different combinations. Apparently, if you crossed over every human gene, which is 46 chromosomes, yeah, you would get 8.4 million different possible combinations. And you only need 1 in order to get your offspring. So we'll be labeling our offspring with yellow. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. All of these are still paired, okay? At the end of crossover, all of them are still paired, but the little signs here, these signs here, they're no longer valid, because these are new copies. These are new copies of the genome. They've been crossed over, they are weird, they're wonderful, and they do strange things. They can be very good mutations there as well. Who knows? And what happens here this is what defines meiosis, pretty much. Instead of their own little chromosomes being pulled off of a chromosome, pairs are actually divided, like right down the middle. So you have pretty much two cells being made, but these cells can no longer actually exist on their own. Chromosome number 1 in either cell no longer has a pair. Chromosome number 2, chromosome number 3 does not have a pair, so these lot would not actually survive on their own. If you tried to make a liver cell out of these chromosomes, you would not make a liver, because you need copies of them. And obviously these lot are now completely new. Completely new. And these two get packed into their own little cells, and these two cells go onto meiosis too. And now what's different is this. You see mitosis. I should probably label this. You see mitosis, you have them all lining up into one file. Here you also have them line up in one file. I'll just do it for one of these cells, yeah? Let's say this one is gone on to meiosis 2. They also line up in a file, but what you see here, you have a pair, a pair, a pair, yeah? Here, there's no such thing. This is one of the individuals to be in that pair. So just cross out half of them, and you get what's gonna be pulled into meiosis 2. And obviously all of these are completely new because you did some chemistry magic with them. Amazing stuff. And I'd like to remember these as being pretty much as the same as mitosis. What happened here? You pulled each one apart. What happens here again? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just the same way you would have in mitosis. So meiosis 2, the second stage of it, is actually exactly the same as mitosis, except for the fact that each chromosome does not actually have a pair, and the cell that's made as a result will not actually be able to survive on its own. So these lots, this is how you maximize the amount of different probabilities that you have. And each of these now gets packed into what will become a gamete. In humans, it's egg cells and sperm cells. I have no clue what it is in the fruit flies, but assuming they have sexual reproduction, this is what would be happening. So let's go through this again. In meiosis 1, the most important stage of meiosis, if you understand this, you will understand everything about meiosis. In meiosis 1, they line up in pairs. Then those pairs get crossed over and you make some magical chemistry, which means that you have completely new alleles and completely new combinations of genes in each of those chromosomes. This is basically what makes them your own. These are no longer your dad's or your mom's pairs. And then instead of lining up and being replicated and whatever, they actually get split in half before meiosis 2. They get split in half, so these lot will not reproduce. Well, if you think about it, if you didn't split them in half, what would happen? If you didn't split them in half and you just gone through this, it would actually look similar to this. You would have cells that would be able to survive on their own with a completely new genome, and what if you make a mistake somewhere? What if there's a really horrible mistake that you don't want in all of your cells? Like, you wouldn't want cancer to be in your genitals, would you? that's probably taking it too far, but yeah, this is basically how it works. This is how it works. And these lot are completely new combinations of genes, plus minus all of the different mutations that you got through your lifetime to your original genes. So you can now see difference between mitosis and meiosis. This part here being the most important one. Thank you very much for watching. Obviously, this is not going to be as factual or as, you know, research proven as you might get from somebody in university, but hey, if I got those resources, yeah, I wouldn't have to make this video, because not every teacher is, you know, gonna tell you this. They'll just tell you the basics. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. I really hope you found this useful. If I got something completely and horribly wrong, please do tell me. I wouldn't want to mislead loads of people, but this is a very simple way of me looking at it, the way I understand it, and hopefully all of the visual people out there, everybody who finds it useful to actually look at things, you find this useful as well. Okay, take care. Wishing you grades, good time. See you.